Testing. Can everybody hear me well? Yes?
Good morning, everybody. We're pleased to be here for the Berens River First Nation. Miigresh kitigom, kapimao antun tiangoma, tabipisinta uyank, we kichiki isik ka we pe tashincha mank, we ay onak kunikevin. Thank you. My name is Councillor Roland Whiteway, and I'll be guiding us through today's press conference on behalf of Berens River First Nation. I want to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the lands and waters that have sustained our people since time memorial. We are here today as leaders, but also as protectors. Protectors of our treaty rights, our community, and the spirit of Lake Winnipeg. We are here today because Berens River First Nation has taken a historic step after decades of being left out of decisions that impact our lands and waters and our livelihood. We have filed a legal claim against Manitoba Hydro, the government of Manitoba, and the government of Canada. What is the Lake Winnipeg Regulation Project? The LWR project, operated by Manitoba Hydro since 1976, regulates water levels on Lake Winnipeg to minimize hydroelectrical power generation. It has never been undergone an environmental assessment. Why is Berens River talking legal action? No consultation or consent was ever obtained from Berens River First Nation for the project. The project has significantly harmed Berens River First Nation's treaty rights, reserve lands, and the way of life. The nation is demanding compensation, remediation, and participation in future discussions affecting Lake Winnipeg. The key impacts of the LWR project are as follows: erosion and loss of shoreline along Berens River First Nation reserve lands, decline of water quality and increase in debris and algae blooms, damage to fish habitats, and reduced access to traditional fishing areas, loss of plants and animals used for food, medicine, and cultural practices. Economic and cultural harm to Berens River First Nation. And now I will move to the next person, our Chief of Berens River First Nation, Chief Hartley Everett, to address the next part of our conference here and the legal claims. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Councillor Roland. First of all, we would like to acknowledge our elders, our ancestors, and the generations yet to come. We are gathered here today to speak for the land, for the water, and for our people. Berens River is taking legal action to protect our rights under Treaty 5 and to hold Manitoba, the province of Manitoba, and Government of Canada accountable for the ongoing harms caused by Lake Winnipeg Regulation Project. Lake Winnipeg is sacred to our people. It sustains our culture, our economy, and our way of life. For nearly 50 years, Manitoba Hydro has regulated the lake's waters without consulting and compensating our nation. We were never asked, we were never consented, our treaty rights have been infringed upon. Our people can no longer fish where their ancestors fished. Our medicines no longer grow where grandmothers once harvested. We are seeking damages, a full environmental assessment, and inclusion in all future decisions impacting Lake Winnipeg. This is not only a legal matter, it is moral and a spiritual one. The land is our life, the water is our spirit. We are not here as victims, we are here as protesters, as leaders, and as treaty partners demanding justice. We invite the public, the media, and other nations to stand with us. Help us ensure that the promises of Treaty 5 are honored and that Lake Winnipeg is protected for future generations. And I'll make a closing statement. This claim is about justice, restoration, and respect. Today we speak for our people and for the water tomorrow. We continue the work of healing and protecting of what is sacred. And I will pass it on to Councillor Paul Disbrow. Go ahead, Paul.
Morning, Councillor Paul Disbrow, Berens River First Nation, Treaty 5 territory. We are here standing up for not only our people, but our ancestors, our future generations, and for the scarce water of Lake Winnipeg. This action is about restoring the balance that has been broken for way too long. We were never consulted, never compensated. We have never been given a voice. We are demanding justice under the treaty, the consultation, and the international law. Our young people must see their leadership fighting for the waters, the fish, and the land that need to sustain us. We invite the public, the media, and the nations to stand with us. Together, we can ensure our treaties are honored and our waters are protected. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Everett. Councillor Desbro. We will now invite questions. Open the floor for questions from media and whoever else wants to participate. And I want to acknowledge our First Peoples Law representative, Bruce McIver, sitting at the far end of the table here, and our elder, Harrison McKay, one of the longtime fishermen of the Lake Winnipeg. So the floor is open.
Yeah, thanks very much for your question. As outlined in the statement of claim, it's clear there are a lot of shortcomings in the clean environment report, and that were acknowledged at the time. And Berens River's position is that we're far past the time for a proper full environmental assessment. Berens River is owed that. All First Nations around the lake are owed that. The people of Manitoba are owed that. And importantly, the lake itself is owed a proper environmental assessment. It's been called for a long time, and it's never been done. We detail them in the statement of claim. Part of the problem is that there's the lack of information that the commission acknowledged itself, and that the information was provided by the proponent itself. And you'll see when you read the statement of claim, it's this lack of studies, lack of reliable information about the effects. This is a common pattern, and it needs to be remedied. And Berens River is saying today, enough is enough. Thank you. Berens River's position is that when a proper study is done, it'll be clear and irrefutable that the significant effects on the shoreline are due to the regulation of the lake. It's turning it from a natural lake into a man-made regulated reservoir. And once the proper studies are done, that'll be obvious for everyone.
Sorry, but I forgot to mention we have a mic over here. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, you can use a mic up there to talk.
Just wanted to clarify some of the questions that he was asking about. So partly what you're saying is that the consultations were done by Manitoba Hydro and the information was given by Manitoba Hydro. Is that what you're saying? That there was not consultation with the communities in this report that he's talking about?
Yeah, so Berens River position, and we have copies of the claim available, so we encourage you to read it over. One, there's never been proper consultation. This has been the history of regulation of the lake. Second, the information that's been available has not been sufficient, and most of it has been provided by the proponent itself, and so is not reliable.
So by the proponent, you mean Manitoba Hydro is supplying that information, or
That's-
is it the
that's-
province?
Right, so there's a lack of proper monitoring of effects on the lake, and Berens River, part of the goal with this is to ensure there is the proper monitoring. There is the proper information out there. It's reliable information. It's accurate information. And that's a responsibility that Berens River is shouldering to ensure that that occurs. But that's in the interest of all Manitobans.
I've heard some people talk about Manitoba Hydro and refer to Lake Winnipeg as a battery. Does anybody have any comments on that kind of attitude and approach?
Can you say the question again?
Sometimes when people talk about Manitoba Hydro, they say that the water levels, they create a battery for Manitoba Hydro.
Well, before the dams, the flow of the water that flows through Lake Winnipeg was always flowing northward. And when the dams cut it off at the Genpeg area, it causes that water to circulate within the lake. And that's what causes the problems that we have today.
Do you also have some
Sorry,
stories?
I'll get Greg McIver to read.
Maybe just on that question, the chief described the Lake Winnipeg regulation. It's an artificial water management system. When you talk about batteries, there's 5 batteries in Manitoba. Lake of the Woods, Lake of the Prairies, Lake Manitoba, Lake Winnipegosis, and also Lake Winnipeg itself, and Cedar Lake and South Indian Lake reservoirs. Those are your batteries that you're referring to, because they store water and they move it based on season and based on capacity for each of the 16 electricity generating capacities they have in the province. I don't know if that's what you're asking.
Thank you, Greg.
Do you have stories about people who their lives changed once Manitoba Hydro was set up? So losing the ability to, as you said, maybe live off of fishing or things like that, other kinds of ways of making a living?
Well, there's a lot of number of impacts that Manitoba Hydro had done to our First Nation. It impacted the livelihood of our commercial fishermen. That's one of the main ones, and also where our ancestors used to gather plants. they don't no longer can't get the plants from where they used to get. And also the erosion, we could see over the number of years that there was changes on erosion of a lot of parts of the land back home, and it's really impacting everything else, such as in the springtime. We all know that fish spawn in the spring, and when there's big erosions like that, they try to go back there, and it has changed, so it kind of impacts that as well.
Oh, sorry, you're still speaking. Forgive me.
I just wanted to ask one of our commercial fishermen that fished for so many years if he wanted to say a few words as well on over the years of the impacts that he's seen. Did you want to say a few words there? Yep.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Harrison McKay, self-employed fisher for 40 years and over. Like this person asked, that what caused our lives to go. It's because of the dirty water, and it's because of trees on the water. It causes chaos to our fishing industry. Nets are not cheap, motors are not cheap. It's like buying a vehicle for 150 causes 17, 18, 20, $25,000. And when you break your bottom gear shaft on the bottom of a motor, it causes $7,000 to fix. And at the same time, to pay your men, then you go down, and it causes stress. And the fish that you're supposed to catch on the channel where we used to, my dad and them used to fish, are no longer there because of the dirty water and trees. And that's what causes our lives to go either just give up in fishing and just sit there like a log, just like the next, and anything that comes. We can't make a living anymore because of the fishing industry has gone either a scale down or a scale up. And that's where my fishing industry has fallen. I've lost so much in my life. In fishing, I haven't fished for the last 10 years of my life because of that. And I still have quotas in my pocket, which are useless, but they cost money when you buy them. So I have $160,000 in my pocket, or maybe more. And then that's where our lives are as fishermen. And I also think of our younger generation, where they're going to go. It's the same thing like logging. We don't have any more logging, no more logging. That's how our fishing is going to go. It's going to go belly up. Thank you.
Sir, your quota, are they mostly whitefish or walleye?
My quotas are walleye, pickerel. They call them pickerel, and another way walleye. So some people don't know what is pickerel when I tell them. So what is pickerel? And then they throw in that word. Is it a walleye? Well, the same thing. Yeah.
May I ask, if water quality is one of the concerns here, why not name or other jurisdictions, Saskatchewan, Alberta, North Dakota, Minnesota, Ontario, who are responsible for generating some of the nutrients that end up in Lake Winnipeg? Why not name them as well in the suit?
Sure. Thanks. There are a lot of parties that have contributed to the harms without a doubt. At the same time, this claim is focused around responsibilities for protecting treaty rights. So it's 150 year anniversary this year for Treaty 5. So focusing around the effects of on treaty rights, the promise to Berens River in 1875 made by the Crown, now Canada, Manitoba, is that their way of life would be protected. And as you'll see and hear from members at Berens River, their way of life is dependent on Lake Winnipeg. So it's Canada, Manitoba, Manitoba's agent, Manitoba Hydro, who are directly liable.
And in section 5L, the relief sought, what relief would you envision?
So-
you say that you wish, forgive me here, 5L, an order to remedy any nuisance or harms or damages. What would that mean in terms of what could they do to the lake that would satisfy Berens River First Nation?
Sure. I think central to the relief that's sought by Berens River through the claim is meaningful spot at the table in resolving these concerns going forward. As you've heard from leadership, they've not been treated with respect. So part of the relief is damages for what's occurred to date. But going forward, and very importantly, it's ensuring that they are involved in decision-making around the regulation of the lake to address these concerns going forward.
I asked that, I just want to be clear, you're not seeking to have Manitoba Hydro ceasing to use the lake as a reservoir?
There are injunctive relief, that's part of the claim. What the future looks like, that'll be the basis of the conversation between Manitoba and Berens River.
So if there's any more questions? If not, I would like to thank the media and everybody who coordinated this press conference. No questions? No. Okay, adjourned. Thank you.